Alright guys, Tush coming at you Tuesday, July the 25th, just coming up to 7:30 in the PM. Not a bad evening out. And we are at T-minus 54. And I think what we're going to do tonight is not work on the car. We are going to work on cleaning the garage up. It's a disaster out here and it's driving me crazy. So we're going to spend the night cleaning, getting all this dirt and blasting media out of the garage. Maybe we'll try to rearrange the trailer a little bit so we can get some of the stuff that I'm not currently working on back in the trailer. That would be good. We are anticipating the return of my engine from the engine shop, machine shop, on Friday this week, so we want to have a clean garage to bring that into eventually. We'll probably just keep it in the back of the Pathfinder until we're ready for it, but hopefully that's going to be fairly soon. I think we have all the parts required to rebuild that now. So yeah, so I think that's going to be tonight's effort, will be just to clean the garage. So we'll get started. I'm sure it's going to take us a couple hours, so we'll get started and get that out of the way. Alright, we'll come back. Alright guys, Thursday, July the 27th, just after 6 p.m. Tush coming at you. Beautiful sunny day out there today for a change. Rained pretty much most of the day today, but tonight it's beautiful. So we are at T-minus 52 and don't plan on doing much on the car today. You see if I've put the front fender and the rear fender and left the door on the passenger side. So yeah, lots of work needed on that front fender, that's for sure. And all we're going to do today is continue on our cleaning spree. Move a few bins around. I got to search for a few parts. So we're going to do that today, and we're going to continue sweeping and cleaning out this garage the best we can. I think we're going to have a trailer organization maybe this weekend too, and see if I can get that looking a little bit better in there. It's bothering me. It's the access is not good, and I've got stuff all over the place, so I need to reorganize that so I can get to parts a little bit better. So that's the plan really. So we're not really touching the car, we're just working on organization at the moment. So be it. Makes me feel better when I can work in a more orderly and cleaner garage than its current state. So we're going to do what it takes before we continue on working on the 68-250. That's it for now. Come back later. Alright guys, Friday afternoon, the 28th of July, just about 3 p.m. and we're in the Parts Runner Pathfinder on our way up to the machine shop to pick up the engine block and the flywheel that I left there a couple weeks ago. So they've given me a shout and told me it was ready. I went up for a visit actually on, I think it was about Tuesday this week, and the flywheel wasn't done yet, so I just left the block and the flywheel there. And it's supposed to be done today, so we're heading up there now. I'll give you a report once I get back home. Nice day today, finally. Alright guys, we made it back from the machine shop safely, and won't be able to show you too much as far as the block is concerned because it got all wrapped up nicely in this bag and all taped shut, so I don't really want to open that up just to introduce some dirt and debris inside there. So we'll show you that at a later date. It is looking pretty rusty on the outside. Obviously they hot tanked it for me. They took out all the core plugs and also all of the oil gallery plugs as well, which they've returned to me, which is good. They also obviously found a gasket in the block from the not the spin-on, but the canister oil filter, the stock oil filter, so they dug that out. And there are my number 1 and 4 main bearing caps that they required to hold the block in the boring machine that they have. So everything's good. Flywheel looks good, so I'm happy with that. We'll store that away safely. We'll move the pistons inside the house to keep them out of the way and to keep them safe. Other than that, that's a quick update. One thing I did forget to mention was the price, and I'm actually quite happy. It was $300, and that was for everything, the block and the flywheel resurfacing. So like I said, it's a highly recommended shop. So looks like they do good work. They have a ton of business through there. You would not believe the amount of blocks that they have on the go. at the moment, so they really have sort of a high volume business there. Anyway, $300 I thought was quite reasonable. That was obviously for boring out the block. That was for removing the core plugs, removing all the oil gallery plugs. That was for hot tanking it, and that was also for resurfacing the flywheel. So that's good. Well, finally, on a weekend, it's an absolutely gorgeous day, not a cloud in the sky. It's supposed to be the same for tomorrow, so we finally lucked out on a weekend where it doesn't look like we're going to have any rain. That'll be different. Anyway, it's Saturday, the 29th of July, T-minus 50, and just coming up to 10:20 in the AM, and just back having a look at the 250 this morning. God, it needs a lot of work. We'll have a little chat about that at some point. But today, I think what we're going to do this morning at least is we're going to create the feet for these A-post bottoms. So that means I'm going to remove the door. I haven't obviously welded the sill in yet, but it's not going to move from where it's actually screwed in there with Tech screws. If it does move, then I have a problem. So I am pretty confident I can actually build the feet that I'll end up welding to the top of the outer sill at a later time, but at least I can manufacture them and get them ready. So I think that's what we're going to do today, at least this morning for a little bit. I would like to do another little project that I'd started a while ago, and that's these trailing arms that I have sort of tucked up under the car. I want to get these cleaned up and figure out whether I want to just, well, it depends on how well they clean up, but I want to get them painted and probably clear coated, or maybe just clear coated depending on how well they clean up, and get those sort of out of the way and back in the trailer safely. So I kind of not dropped the ball on those, but just got away from them and just sort of been languishing under the car there ever since. I did buy a new wire brush that I'm going to try a new brass wire wheel. So we're going to wire wheel those to see how clean we can get them. It's got a lot of undercoating and crap stuck on them, so we'll see how well we do with that wire wheel approach. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. So I think what we're going to do, like I said, we'll take the door off and we'll start trying to figure out how to manufacture those A and B post bottoms. Alright guys, so just a familiarization with this area. This is what it looks like. This is what it looked like previously. So the foot looks something like this. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. So that goes like that and attaches to the bottom of the outer sill there. And then there's another piece obviously that works on the inner. Now I'm a little bit concerned about, you see this step in this piece here, because it's stepped here for the door opening. So we've got to create that and flange to meet up with this flange all the way over that runs like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this with a shrinker, and then we're going to join it probably to this outside patch. I'm not going to be able to do it all in one shot, obviously. So we'll do the best we can. It's going to be either a 2 or 3 part patch, I think. But that's my only concern really, is just this little stepped piece. What I think what happens with this is it just steps for a little bit and then fades down towards the bottom. I may actually just utilize this top little piece here, just cut it a little bit shorter, clean it up, and then just weld it in to capture that step piece and then move from there. So we'll see. We'll decide what we're going to do. But that would probably be the easiest to try to recreate that at least anyway. Alright guys, we'll come back. Alright, so here's where we're starting with. We just bent up a flange that's about 17 mil by 17 mil. That's going to be this flange here and this flange, sorry, you should probably put the camera on the work. This flange here and this flange here. So we're going to see if we can actually bend this with the shrinker and see if we can get the curve right at least. So this is more of a practice test. If it works out, it works out. If not, we'll go back to the drawing board. So anyway, we had to start somewhere, so this is where we're starting. Alright guys, there's the first part of the patch just clamped in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this piece at the back. We're going to make a new back piece, then we're going to make a new side piece, and then we're going to make a new piece to go in the middle. So that's the steps that I'm going to go to do this. Now I could make this as a one-piece wraparound, but I think what I'm just going to do is I'm going to fix the back piece first, making sure it's fitting flush to the top of the outer sill. Then we'll make the side piece that goes up to here, and then we'll do a little fill-in piece to pick up this little dip in the flange here. Alright guys, we're making progress. It's taken a little while. I'm just taking my time and watching the ball game and trying to get this A-post patch fixed. So basically I had to go up fairly high on the back piece of the A-post up to actually one of the locating holes for the front fender was. So we've got to drill a new hole there. It was all pretty much rotten in here, so we've gone up to what we hope to be fairly good metal up there. So we dropped that back down to the top of the outer sill. We're going to carry it across here. Now we got the inner flange piece done and sort of butt jointed up here. It looks like this is where this needs to be, as far as where the indent is in the sill for this piece to go in, enough for the door to fit properly. So all we need to do now is to put a piece in here. So I've got a piece here that I'm going to bend up by hand into this channel here, and we'll just tack weld it together. We'll take everything off. I did test fit the fender already to make sure that everything fits properly, and the fender actually does. This guy is a little bit wonky here because there's been a repair patch put in here before, so the angles are a little bit off, but anyway, it does seal properly. The fender can get on properly. I can push the fender in properly, so it actually looks pretty good when the fender is on. Anyway, we'll fit up this patch in here. Maybe we'll tack it in, then we'll remove that whole piece entirely and weld it up solid before we attach it to the bottom of the A-post. That's the plan anyway. Alright guys, so here's where we're at. Here's the panel we made. Doesn't look too bad, I don't think. So it fits in. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. It's kind of a tight fit. It should be. There you go. Something like that. Get the idea. So just a little clamp over here. It's got to be pulled out a little bit here. It's just going to be tack welded here and then pulled tight against the flange and then obviously welded down here. So there you go. You get the idea. So I think that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. A little weld up along here. So there you go. So that's the first one done. We obviously still need to do the rear one, so we'll start to work on that one. We're going to take the rear fender off, so we've got some better access. Here's the old one that we took off, so we got that at least for a reference. It does have a big scab of the old inner sill left on the bottom of it, but anyway, we'll be able to gauge the top profile anyway. So we're going to get started on that. Okay, so here's the B-post as it sits, and I believe this is a scabbed over piece of metal, so I think this is the original piece here. This obviously is the piece that I removed. That goes back in something like this, up to there, and it attaches to the flange on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same sort of thing as I did at the front here. I'm going to create a flange piece and use the shrinker on it to get the curve. This one doesn't have a step in it like the other one did, so it should be a little less trouble for me to manufacture. I'm going to try to make the flange as wide as I can, and that way I can just maybe do a two-piece patch and just make the outside patch to meet up with the flange piece. That's the plan for this side, so I'll go ahead and make up a flange piece and we'll shrink it to fit, and we'll come back with an update. So here's where we're at so far on the B-post patch. We've just sort of got it fitting in there loosely. I'm just kind of trimming it to the edge of the outer sill. I'm going to shorten it here. There's a little notch that I need to shorten it to. That's the actual sort of depression for the side panel to sort of sit in so it doesn't sit outside the rocker. So we're going to shorten this a little bit, and then obviously we need to trim this upper flange piece, but I've just cut it short there. I'm going to take some more measurements before I go ahead and cut that. So anyway, I'm going to shorten it first and then work on that upper piece. Okay, we just traced out a template to make that side repair panel. So that seems to be fitting in there pretty well. So we're going to go and inscribe that onto some metal and cut it out, and we'll see if we can tack those two pieces together. Alright guys, there's the B-post patch just sitting in there. It's just sort of tacked along the edge, so we're going to weld that fully along the edge. We're just going to take it out to do that. Anyway, it sits in there nicely, as you can tell. It's hard to get out. So there we go. So we'll weld that up, grind it down, and then we'll make sure that the door fits properly before we do anything as far as welding it to the sill is concerned. Obviously we need to weld the outer sill in first in behind this before we actually weld the bottom of this B-post in anyway. So Anyway, we're going to finish weld this, grind it down, and then we'll come back with one more last look of it. And then we'll probably leave it for now, and we'll come back to it when we're ready to weld the sills in. I'm still waiting on my spot welder tips. They did actually come in the mail last week, but they're the wrong threaded size for my tongs. So I've ordered another set, which are hopefully going to be the right size. The other ones were supposed to be in the right size. So anyway, we'll try a different size, and hopefully these ones will work. Alright guys, we'll come back in a bit. Alright guys, there's a picture of the V-post batch. All finished up basically, and ready to be welded in at some point. So I'm happy with that. So I guess we'll move on to another project. For now anyway, we'll come back to this at a later date, but I'm happy with the A and B post now. At least the bottom pieces are done. It took me pretty much most of the day, but it doesn't really matter how long it takes, I guess. Anyway, I'm hungry, so it must be dinner time. I've got no idea what time it is, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Anyway, that's what weekends are for. Alright guys, we'll come back later on. Alright guys, just coming up to 8:35. We had a quick bite to eat, and we tried to do another hour out here or so. So as promised this morning, we're going to try to strip some of the trailing arms. I've got that brass wheel. It's quite soft actually, so these are aluminum obviously, so we don't want to mark those up too badly. So the sand's still coming out of them. Anyway, we'll give them a shot and see how that works. Alright guys, we'll come back. Alright guys, quick update for you just after 9 p.m. and it's probably about time for me to stop grinding out in the garage with the doors open. And I pretty much worn my brush down to the nub, so I think we're going to call it a night. But it's definitely looking better. So we've got most of it done. Obviously got to clean up some of the nooks and crannies a little bit better, but for the most part it's looking pretty good. Even the bottom's looking not too bad. Obviously need to clean down in that deep well area, but for the most part it is looking better. So anyway, we'll call it a night like I mentioned, and we'll upload this so you can see where I'm at, and we'll get out here bright and early tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.